Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Xuan Yuan Sword 7. I'm the Mysterious JG. This may be a really short video, or maybe I'll just round it out. There's two DLCs. One of them is just a single boss fight. The other one is like a dungeon, which is a series of boss fights. So we'll see how much content there is here. I wasn't planning on going into the DLC in this sit-down. It was going to be like, I've recorded enough in this sit-down to have a few weeks of content. It was going to be more like a, when I feel like it in the next couple of weeks, I'll sit down and just do, you know, a minimum of 1 or 2 videos to see if I feel like exploring the DLC further, and then we'll see. The thing about this game is, I'm not that great at these action games, but there are definitely games like Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 Sigma. Ninja Gaiden 3 Sigma, or Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge I've been playing around with. It's coming out, like, there's a Ninja Gaiden Classics collection on PS4 where I might actually go back and play Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge now for my channel. Randomly, it's been a long time, somebody was watching Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 and asking if I was planning to come back and play that. The only feedback I remember getting at the time on Ninja Gaiden Sigma games was like this one person who was showing up in every video and posting lengthy diatribes about how I was like worse than scum. Like playing the game, like whatever, I don't want to get into a big long thing, but it's like one person with like negative comments just kept hanging around like they were hate watching. It was kind of strange. But like in Ninja Gaiden Sigma 1 and 2, like I wasn't great at the game, but I could kind of tell sometimes, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm just not doing it well. And the same thing in Neo too, like I'll get frustrated and I'll be like oh, I evaded, oh, I evaded. But yeah, there's tight timing requirements. There's stuff where I'm like, yeah, I know there's a lot of different ways you can play the game, and I'm just not very skilled. This is a game where the combat mechanics aren't complex enough. It just feels clunky sometimes. Like, I don't know why I'm not winning at this point, and I don't know what I should be doing differently. And it could be that there really is there's just something I never quite picked up that's core to the combat engine where I would be way better at it. Like sit down, like literally take lessons. Like, no, here's how you want to do it. You want to be blocking, you want to be looking for openings, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm very much just spazzing out when I'm on offense, and if an attack looks like it's just really big, I will try to evade it, and otherwise I'm spazzing out. And that's not how really great action games probably work, but it's like the jumping, and there's no jumping in this game. The dodging is not good. It doesn't feel like something where your control over the characters doesn't feel fluid enough for you to really have a lot of great strategy. So that's one of the reasons, like from a gameplay perspective, I was never that into this game. It's not like it's not fun at all, but it's not a great game. There's much better games you could be playing with much tighter combat controls. So it comes down to story, and Taishi Zhao is a very bland protagonist, but he's just a generally likable guy. He's just a bit bland. And it probably hurt that I'm Let's Playing, because I'm cracking jokes and sometimes talking when I should be listening. There's stuff in the story where it's like, oh, that guy's responsible for the death of his parents? I guess that's what's happening, but like we didn't get a scene of him just freaking out with rage and screaming about it. Like, not every piece of drama needs to be that like melodramatic about everything, but like this game had real problems with just the characters being subdued. Particularly, well, I mean, our 3 main characters are Taishi Zhao, Taishi Zhang, and Chu Hong, and 2 of those 3 are just really subdued a lot. And Taishi Zhang's just, I mean, she's the little girl character. She's got her own character. She's not like completely generic, but like when she emotionally reacts to stuff, it's portrayed as being, oh, well, she wears her emotions on her sleeve because she's a child. These adults just, you know, control their emotions better. But it also just means that things tend to feel a bit dull. But anyway, I don't know what would be left in the main game, but it's still not quite over. And there's a sweet message in here that, well, there's a lot of stuff has gone wrong in this world, and it's going to take some effort to put it back together, and these 3 will help with that. I think that's really nice. And the idea that it's kind of unquestioned at this point that the 3 of them will stick together. And it's not that clear if Chu Hong has like, it's hinted that she and Taishi Zhao could have a romantic relationship, but it's not like just transparently in your face, that's what's happening. But she has taken on an older sister relationship with Tai Zhang, which is really quite sweet. And I don't know what they're going to do with the Jipeng, because he got thrown into... One day the doctor abruptly... This is old stuff, I'm curious about it. I looked after by an old doctor. Okay. His backstory on how they survived, which is not really explained that carefully. But let's see. Like, we've got the final bits of stuff for these guys, so we'll read through it, and then I think we're just going to get credits. And if I'm not at, like, if I don't have, like, a really short video at that point, I'll probably just let it go. But I vamped enough to have, like, 5 minutes now anyway, so... I don't like that. But there was a thing, like, yeah, she's trying to get her big brother to look at her as being something other than a child. Don't treat me like a child, Tashi! My brother did that. I don't like it. I don't even know if those words appeared. It's like, it might be a play it again, Sam thing. Humphrey Bogart's character in Casablanca never says play it again, Sam. But everyone remembers him saying it. Like, Lance Vance, I think he literally said, don't treat me like a child, Tommy, to Tommy Vercetti, but he might not have. Anyway, whenever anyone is being treated like a child, I think of Lance Vance. With the dust settled, we passed through Chang'an on our way to the western regions. Yeah, this is a strange thing. There's big chunks of story they just skip. We defeat Mo Huang, and suddenly Wang Mang is overthrown, and the guy that we met along the way, who's kind of an asshole, briefly takes over, and he's replaced by the guy who's good, whose brother dies. All that stuff just kind of happens and then we flash forward, and, like, apparently all that stuff happened while we were wandering our way back from the Meteor Cannon battleship to the Lady in Green. So things were happening rapidly, and we apparently played no role. That's it. Like, they had nothing. The game had no plan for what we would be doing during those events, so they just happened without us. And now, like, we're flashing even further forward, so... We passed through Chang'an on our way to the western regions. Like, maybe we would have liked to have seen Chang'an. The city wasn't like how Brother remembered it at all, and the Li residence was now occupied by another family. It had been years since he'd been there, after all. In that time, the city had to be rebuilt after being razed by the Lulin army, so it's no surprise. The pear tree still stood in the East Market, though it was nowhere near as tall as Brother suggested in his stories. Sister Hong smiled and said it'd be easy to climb now. I think Mother and Father might be watching over us from above. That last thought is kind of tacked on there, Tai Zhang, but, she's a little kid. She's going to learn to edit herself in her writings as she becomes older. She might become a really successful author. Back in the day, women were allowed to write poetry, but not more serious works, or she could ghostwrite. She could write under a male pseudonym, or she could write today and become an incredibly popular and beloved female author who then says some stuff about, gets involved in the whole transgender issue in a way that people don't like, and they could disown her while trying to keep her works that she created. Like the World Quidditch League changing their name, which is just like, okay. Sorry. Tai Zhang. I was a fragile child. Call me Tai Zhang. I was born in a house my father built. Alright. So we're skipping on ahead. She's become an automata. She became some kind of onomatopoeia. So was Tai Zhang still an automatic wooden robot girl when they visited Chang'an or not? I guess we'll find out. She felt like an outsider when Sister Hong and Brother discussed stuff. Even though there's you on... Okay, never mind. Here we go. Everything feels unreal, like a dream I can't wake up from. I am the DFG. I am the nightmare you can't wake up from. I think I was piloting the meteor battleship in that automata. And now I have a body again, and I'm powerless. Still, I shouldn't complain. This body is healthy, and I can finally realize my dream of traveling the world like Sister Hong. You couldn't have done that in a wooden body? No, don't get me wrong, it's good she's got a human body again, but... Speaking of which, the western regions are exactly how she described them. Dunes extending in all directions to the horizon, burning hot in the day and freezing cold at night. Oh, and the wine was every bit as divine as I imagined. Seems a little young for all that wine drinking, but okay. There are so many places to visit and things to experience. I guess that's sweet. So everyone's just getting a little text, a little text box at the end, like. Again, I can't really. There's a movie, a particular movie that came to that I was trying to think of, and it slipped away. We get little postscripts on all the characters, you know. Wit became the leader of the guards. Mr. J.G. Bobo became a great hero and had many adventures. J.G. Brought justice to the land. Red left. With the Lujin gone, Sister Hong is the only Moas left in this world. As promised, we used our clockwork technology for the betterment of the people. Maybe one day it can be used not as a weapon, but as a beneficial force for good. Shitty ending. Oh well. Jipeng. The fusion was a success, but Madame has left us. Later, when my brother released King Jipeng from the Elysium, he watched the empty cottage for a while, then turned to me, nodded with approval, and spoken with pride and sorrow. See, I was telling the truth. The Madam would solve your problems. This was the first time I've seen him look so lonely. Not much of an ending, but okay. And then finally, Sang Wenjin. Madam left us before we could thank her properly. Well, you had time. She spoke very slowly. You could have jumped in there. 400 years ago, Master Sang, father of Sang Wenjin, created her with the Black Flame. Oh, she was a Black Flame creation, huh? Through the power of Black Flame burning within, Madam becomes immortal and forever youthful. However, a certain battle left a wound which could never be healed. In time, the wound grew worse, destabilizing the Black Flame within her body. For too long, Madam had lived 400 years, long enough to see her husband pass away, to face the bitter threats of Black Flame and the trauma left by monsters all alone. For too long, Madam was drowning in sorrow. Maybe her only desire, from beginning to end, was to see her husband once more, for she was the only one who got left behind. I hope Madam got what she wanted. After her unfinished task, shall carry on for her. I will now... So I think is it implied that because she has Black Flame in her, that's why monsters were popping up, because Black Flame lived on in her, and she needed to... Like, okay, so we fought this Black Flame dragon at the end because she summoned the Black Flame that was contained within her into a corporeal form we could slay. So we're and there were various points in the story where we were like, everywhere she goes, there's monsters. What's going on? Is she killing them or is she creating them? So now it seems like maybe there's some of both. Like, as she was over, like, Black Flame power would seep out and she couldn't contain it, and they would create monsters and she would kill them. So when Taishi Jiang says she's going to carry on her duties, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Is she going to start creating and then destroying monsters? Let me know in the comments. Abyssal Poise. Excuse me, pardon. The Black Flame erupted out of Madam and transformed into an ugly dragon-like creature. It had a massive body. It moved with shocking speed. No one could predict where it was going to strike next. Its unearthly essence began to infect the landscape, and we could hear the wails of all who suffer in the world radiating from within it. Among them was a familiar voice. I guess I'm supposed to know who that is. It may be that we heard the sound of, like, the old guy who lived at our residence and told us to run when we were a kid. And by we, I mean Taishi Xiao. Those little kids in the village, we heard them. So, I don't know. The sigil of Xuan Yuan. When we returned the Moling River with the Xuan Yuan sword, the sigil had already been drawn. On the grass, King Jipeng soon recognized its purpose and hurriedly tried to intervene, but Madam had already made up her mind. Signal of Divine Reincarnation. After we modified the signal of Xuan Yuan, it became the signal that would create my body. Unleashing the Black Flame is a destructive act, while refining a body is one of creation. Life or death lives in the difference between a few strokes. So it's still a secret. So, and I'll tell you, maybe I'm supposed to know from previous games, or maybe not. I don't feel like anything you want to do before the end of your journey. Before going home. Oh. This is just like, we can go do whatever. So where's the end of our journey? Yeah, back at Mount Yidi. Interesting. I really like this. We actually go back to our little hut on Mount Yidi. I do kind of wonder, like, well, what if we went back to Kunying? But they kind of set it up. You can go different places and check out different things. The Xuan Yuan sword has been destroyed. So there's no equipping the Xuan Yuan sword ever as a weapon. We never get to go into this house. I want to see where she lived. I don't know if we stand around for a while while we see King Jipeng land. Or is he sealed up? He was unsealed at some point. Well, whatever. Alright. Well, I'll tell you what. I was worried about this. There doesn't seem to be any need to save... Prepare for the final battle. I'll keep it just in case, but there doesn't really seem to be a need to save it. We have all of our characters. We can do what we need to do. We can do what we want to do, say what we want to say, live how we want to live, play like we want to play, something and laughing and dancing. The Addams Family. Oh. The FC Hammer Addams Family rap. It's one of those things like the Lance Vance dance. It just pops up at inopportune times. So there's a few places where, because this is the thing. The world is full of NPCs that just have written dialogue appear on the screen. And sometimes they don't. So they wouldn't really have to update the world that much. They could just have all these people just not saying anything anymore. You wouldn't necessarily, like in many RPGs, you'd be like, oh, see, they're not updating. They're talking about things that have already happened in the future. These guys, they just won't talk anymore. But there's a handful of places we could go. We could, see if there's anything happening north of Kunyang. Or in Kunyang. Because in theory, this guy that we helped along the way, who should... Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, we're gonna go call in favors and become, like, lords and ladies of the land, but... Yeah, like, General Bosheng... Because I remember his name, because I remember, like, thinking Bob Shang. General Bosheng is the one who died, but Bosheng's brother... becomes the emperor who founds the later Han. But he doesn't become him. Like, that happened. Like, we just had, like, a series of slides that tell us all this shit went down. And the typical... The Chinese... controversy now. This game is from Taiwan, so the folks playing this game from its original culture know that history. So to them, it's like having a game that's set during the Civil War, and in off-screen action, after the war ends, Abraham Lincoln is shot. Like, they don't need to have that explained to them, but it does feel weird that it just kind of happens. Or maybe they'll just get rid of all NPCs. No, never mind. There's still NPCs around. Surrounded by 400,000 enemy troops. 400,000? If I die here, I won't know who would take care of my family. Okay, never mind. They are just going to continue to talk like there's a battle about to happen, even though the battle has happened. So I was about to say, they had a somewhat delicate solution of just not having that dialogue appear anymore, if it's not going to be updatable. But, no, this game has just gone with, yeah, it's like you go to the town... It's an old, like, 16-bit SNES JRPG, and, like, after the events have happened, you go to the town, and 9 times out of 10, they will remember to give people really generic dialogue, or just say, good luck in your adventure, and not really talk about what's going on in the world around them anymore. And, like, once in a blue moon, you'd have an entire town that was destroyed. Like, I remember being really impressed by the original, Breath of Fire, because there's a town that's destroyed early in the game, and after some events much later in the game, you return to that town, and it's not just wreckage anymore. There is evidence people are rebuilding. But, yeah, so I have this vague notion we should try to encounter. But I think that's where, So what is this for? I guess it's so you can do side quests, but some of these side quests... I'm not gonna like fucking play through the game again to find out, but some of these cycles, like, would it make sense? Okay, Liu Ji, General Wen Shu. So he's who we're looking for. Because I was like, who the hell else would there be for us to even go try to encounter in this world? There's a lot of like anonymous village chiefs and stuff that we had like one bit of dialogue with. Alright, so let's see. Main character, main character, main character. Okay, sorry. Main character, main character, main character is little girl, main character. Comic relief character before we found out who he really is. Comic relief character who's still with us. Dead lady, dead lady. Emperor, dead, dead. He might still be around somewhere, but I think he's long since become an NPC that doesn't speak to you anymore. Because he was kind of a recurring character early in the game. Dead, 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 I think. Oh, definitely dead, 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 dead. Yeah, we don't really have a lot of characters in the world that we can still talk to. I believe our final count was, not counting people who are us and part of our player party, Liu Jiu and I think this guy would be dead. He was the cook. Was he the same cook who was involved in the plot to kill the Emperor, or the evil Emperor guy? Because if he is, he's dead. Otherwise, this guy might be alive. I don't really remember for sure. And I think this guy is still alive. I'm getting a weird crackling in my headphones. What is going on with my headphones? I'm getting crazy sound issues, and I don't know. Okay, that was weird. I think I might have a fault in the cable here. No, it's still happening. Alright, well, we're going to finish this video, and I hope it doesn't come across, because if it does... Oops. Oh, but I was reading about a specific guy. Yeah, this guy was actually quite a kind person. Bark was worse than his bite. He was connected to Li Jun. He left the Li Jun on his own. Yeah, I said Sister Hong was the last living Li Jun. I guess that means that guy's not a Li Jun, because I'm pretty sure he's still alive. So we came here and there's no sign of the guy. I mean, I could just prattle on about the game, but I've already kind of talked in the last few videos about... Love-hate is too strong of a word, but, like, every time I think I'm ready to just come down on the main characters of this game, I get caught up in like, there's a sweetness, and there's a sense of warmth and emotion between the main characters that you don't... A lot of video games will just, like, kind of pay lip service to the idea that there is an emotional attachment, but it feels realer in this game than it does to me in a lot. Like, the relationship between the sister and the brother is really quite sweet. But but yeah, just there's like events that academically should be really involving that just don't really seem that involving throughout the game. The only other place we could look, is this the camp where, Yushu was the camp where we spent a lot of the beginning of the game. It became a central location for us. It was the main camp of the rebel army fighting against Wang Mang. Equalizing of the five. A policy Wang Mang established referencing policies in the Zhou dynasty. The government would purchase goods in excess of demand and sell necessary goods in shortages to stabilize the marketplace. Taiwu, Hundun, Tao Ti, and Qiangqi. Well, Tao Wu we fought during the game. Hundun is one of the DLC monsters. I guess those other two might be part of the other DLC. So I will take at least a crack at those DLCs. I don't know how committed I am to going all the way through, because it might involve grinding for resources to buy the best potions. I don't know how long that lasts. Yeah, they're talking about chess, so they are really just cycling through old stuff. Especially because we're going to have dialogues where Chu Hong is just hanging out. And Jipeng has clearly been imprisoned again. Like, they let him out, apparently, because he has a little character postscript that said he is proud of Taishi Jiang, and he is sad his mistress is dead. But he does appear to have been like, after that, she's like, well, in order to be more like your mistress, I'm going to seal you up. But no, I can't be bothered with this. This is recycled from before we even got Hong in the party. Those little dialogues are part of what gave them the flavor of being real siblings, so I shouldn't complain. But oh, this place may be completely empty now. No, it's not completely empty. Change, did I misplace it somewhere else? Hope there's more monster. Hope no more monsters sneak in from this hole. Yeah, there's like no, I don't know why I'm even bothering this. There is no chance that they're here. I just figured this was a place where they appeared, and we had a lot of side quests involving these characters happened here, so it vaguely seemed like we'd want to walk by. Now we're gonna eat like kings until we get poisoned. Let me rest for the entirety of the rest of my existence, because this game is basically over, and we are all in static states now. So this guy has nothing to say, but this was behind this door was where it was implied all plot stuff with Liu Dickhead was happening. Shenggong. I still never really understood, and again, fill me in the comments. LP's just about over. If you've been afraid to comment, now feel allowed to comment. I don't know what I'm saying here, but yeah, it's not a series where I've got a lot of people who are really actively talking in the comments, but there was something going on at the beginning where, like, it seemed like there was something happening where there was a magic technology that would lure monsters to a place, and maybe the bad guys were using it to attack, and then Shenggong started using the same thing or experimenting with it. Like, bad shit was going down, but I never really got a good handle on what was happening. At any rate, it's time to call it a video, because I wasted too much time wandering around going to places that don't matter. But obviously at this point, we're going to see the end, and we will have saved a slot where we can, because I'm thinking we get credits and then the game just ends. So they're telegraphing that the game is going to end so that you can keep a save file where you can, you know, earn more money to buy all the inventory in the game if you're trying to get some kind of like perfect complete save file or whatever. I don't know what happens if you fight. I guess I could find out if you go to a place that used to have Lucian soldiers as the regular enemies, but I would imagine they're just empty. Like, we shouldn't fight. Yeah, there shouldn't be black flame monsters either. There really shouldn't be any enemies left. The wolves from the beginning of the game were not black flame monsters, but by and large, there really shouldn't be any monsters to fight, right? I don't know. Huh. But anyway, it's giving you this slot, so you can just have a slot knowing that you can free roam explore the world, which is a nice idea, but it makes a whole lot more sense in the concept of like a Fallout game with Radiant side quests, or a Grand Theft Auto game where you can just have fun racing cars. There's just not that much to do in this game other than follow the main story and play chess. Oh, that's probably it. If you haven't finished the chess story. Yeah. Although even it was tied to the zombie plot, so I don't know how much sense it would make now. I wonder if Jinping gets to come out for this.
我们就住在这儿。
Hey, there's a pot over there we can break and get some money.
平日有鸟语虫鸣相伴，舒适得很。
You can live here with us, Hong. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's cozy. Please stay here.
不过
Please
当
don't
时
leave
走
me.
得急，李军又来搜过。
现在看来不算太舒适。
Well, it's always
红
kind
姐
of
姐，
looked like this.
我们家就是这样，除了4面墙壁，还有满地的杂物呢。
先替大王解开术法，之后再来好好整理家里吧。
But it was implied he's already been set free.
天下 K。
So the game is not the little journal stuff is not consistent with what's happening in the game. I'm calling it. I'm calling bullshit. I really hope that crackling sound I was hearing was just in my headset and not in the game audio. Or the video audio, I should say. I'm not saying that the game was making those noises. It's definitely something with my setup here. I'm just hoping it's not something that affects the video. That's all I mean. Has he killed himself so he could live with her forever or whatever?
吉鹏大王，
Oh, I'm kind of glad we get to see this scene, though.
你这不中用的东西，怎么没有出手阻止大小姐呢？若再让本大王多劝几句，大小姐说不定也会回心转意。
All right, well, we're freezing you again.
不成才，大小姐也不会。小丫头，新的身体可还？
I guess he just needed to get it out. That's kind of
一
nice.
点问题也没有，多亏了夫人。
是吗？真不愧是大小姐。
吉鹏大王，关于夫人的事情，
Too bad.
我想向
Fuck
您
you,
请
you
教。
killed her.
回多宝国之前，再跟小鬼们聊聊也好。
Well, he's gonna go back to the AVM Kingdom, huh?
也想再看看大小姐走过的地方。
走吧。天下。
Okay, I guess we are getting a real ending here. We're gonna backfill what the hell's going on. Instrument made of jade and silk sounds pretty sweet. Historian is a government official. Responsible for sacrifices! Historians were way different back in the day. Okay, we're not talking like human sacrifices, you guys. Or are we? We're not.
大王，乔哥村的后山也有剑气和黑火的痕迹，会不会也是夫人留下的？
看看吧，或许大小姐曾在此地与妖魔战斗过。
Okay, the game is not quite
毕
over.
竟本大王被关入天书以后，也过了很长一段时间。
You know, if it weren't for the DLC, I probably would have a little mild separation anxiety with this game now. Like I said, not that exciting, but likable characters. I'm gonna miss hanging out with them. I had the same separation anxiety near the end of like Final Fantasy X. Like I really got to like the party members and their relationships, and I was really excited when Final Fantasy X-2 came out, and that ended up being a very fun game in its own very different way. Well, this is like the opening area. Are we just gonna have to fight our way through? Or like, well, there's no enemies. Okay, just... This feels like padding game, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, we're just, running through a lengthy, enemy-free section of map. And we can't use the Elysium Scroll because we don't have many enemies to fight to get that last 25% back. This is a place that was devastated by super monsters, I recall. Which we didn't get to fight. It was just kind of this badass monster from a cinematic. But it was, yeah, Black Flame. This is where I thought the game was going to be all about Black Flame monsters, and I guess in the end it kind of was. But like they stopped looking like the ones from the beginning. It just started looking like generic, you know, dare I say, yokai. So I didn't even make the connection they were supposed to be connected to the Black Flame plotline.
我的老主人属桑子，精善炼化之道，能够轻松驾驭黑火。黑火能量无穷，妥善运用的话，甚至能创造天地万物。他凭借着黑火与 上古神器炼
Oh, he created
炼
her.
化出了大小姐，视如己出。因此，大小姐体内才存在着黑火之力，使她青春永驻。能使用轩辕剑也是被其所赐。
这就是夫人所说的“非死亦非生”。
Well, I mean, she wasn't. Well, I guess.
长生不老理当是被众人兴羡之事，黑火却也是带给他痛苦的源头。
Well, eventually. I mean, I guess she had a really long run of it being pretty cool and then got tired of it. That seems like it would happen. Okay, so she was created by some guy who she is. I suppose that's what you do. If you're going to create some beautiful woman full of awesome power, you're probably going to create her to be in love with you. You know, assuming you're someone who is interested in having beautiful women be in love with you. So that seems to be what happened here. I guess. So is this whole story traces its way back to somebody who was a powerful wizard with awesome black flame manipulating power, just being horny and making himself a super hot girlfriend, who, it must be said, everyone was going around calling the young mistress, so he might have been a
夫人应当也到过山，
particular
我在江
type
西
of
听过
horny.
关于他的传闻。
他一臂之力吧。
Okay.
但夫人抵达时，大寨恐怕已经被毁。要不，沙漠中古墓者的典籍，说不准能够帮上忙。
啊，大小姐肯定没料到此事。
Mm-hmm.
走吧，咱们到山。
Okay, so we're just going to retrace her steps. I really should have called it a video then. I suppose I could split this after the fact. But this is taking way longer than I thought it was going to, this endgame stuff. Well, alright, tell you what, I'm going to call it a video now, and when we come back next time, I don't know how I'm going to put this together, but it seems like there's a real risk that this is going to go super long, so I'll cut it here and pick it back up.